Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on firebroadcasting.com, the Diamond K Show.com. You know, it's been a very rough 24 hours or so after this tragedy happens in just outside of DC. Tragedy striking, plane crash. It is terrible. It is terrible. So we've been following this pretty much since it happened, and the airspace in this section outside of the Potomac River. This is where an Army helicopter and an airliner crashed last night. And according to all reports and folks that know aviation folks, the area is some of the most complex challenges in the country for pilots. It requires them to rely on layers of procedures and electronic safeguards to avoid catastrophe. And that is what happened last night, a catastrophe. Military and Coast Guard helicopters frequently fly low over the river. They share the skies with planes on the heavily used takeoff and landing routes for the Reagan National Airport. So this area they talk about is often congested. I try never to fly out of this airport just because it's hard to get to, and it is usually not convenient for me. I live in Baltimore, so that it's not convenient to fly out of that airport for me. So I try to avoid it as best as I can for the reasons that I'm describing. It's very congested. It's very difficult. Congestion not only on the ground but in the skies. So the runways and the taxiways around the airport, it has been a concern for years. National was built to handle 15 million passengers annually. However, it now handles 25 million passengers annually uh, at this location. So they are well over capacity. Folks have been describing it as a beehive of activity. And so it is extremely compact. And as we said, a very high volume of traffic. So somehow the many safeguards that are in place failed on Wednesday when a Black Hawk helicopter on a training mission and the American Airlines flight from Wichita collided hundreds of feet above the river as the commercial plane approached its runway for landing. No survivors have been found among the 64 people on the plane. The three service members aboard the helicopter. Just a sad situation. Sad situation. Experts say that the initial accounts of the crash are likely to raise questions about the heavily trafficked airspace. That's what we're talking about. The airspace. You've seen a beehive where you just got stuff flying. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Communications between the two aircraft and the air traffic controllers. Um, there's a lot to unpack here. Whether the industry and the government responses to the near collision on runways across the country are sufficient. System has been under duress, and there are designated routes for helicopters to fly around the Washington region, and that tends to follow the area's rivers. So they're flying low and they're staying in the river area close to the river. Now, it appears that the helicopter that collided with the airliner yesterday was in or near one of those routes along the eastern bank of the Potomac. So, air traffic controllers also helped manage traffic and were in contact with the helicopter, according to the audio recordings. So, what happened? What caused the crash? We are far from knowing the all of those circumstances. It has not been enough time. How the routes and the altitudes of both aircraft intersected the moments before the collision are going to be very closely scrutinized. As another layer of protection against midair collisions, airliners are equipped with something that is called the Traffic Alert and Collision Avoidance System, or TCAS, which issues automated verbal alerts to pilots to avoid a crash. Now, experts said it will be up to investigators to determine whether the pilots received any warnings from the systems, whether the military aircraft was detected by the system, or whether it was providing alerts at such a low altitude that many of the aircraft were around. So, as planes approach the ground, the system gradually limits the number of alerts it provides to avoid distracting the pilots. So, could this have played a factor in it? I don't know, and we don't have the answer to that just yet. The crash occurred in one of the most sensitive air corridors in the country. The airspace in and around Washington, D.C., very sensitive. Many, those whose operations are classified because of the security. There's a lot of Army bases. Obviously, we have government buildings nearby, a lot of things going on, a number of civilian and military facilities right in that area. So that airspace, super sensitive. Three major airports, 11 regional airports, and 55 heliports, not including those operated by military. Right. So when I say that this is like a beehive, it is serious. Let me say that again. The region is home to three major airports, 11 regional airports, and 55 heliports. And this does not include the military. So this area is very busy. According to a 2021 report to Congress, 50 entities operated roughly 88,000 helicopter flights between 2017 and 2019. Now, most of these were tied to the military, but others included flights by medical operations, state and local law enforcement, and federal agencies. Now, 2023, lawmakers proposed to add more flights at national to serve new long distance routes. Opponents of the idea raised questions about safety. And now, folks that had those questions is going to be coming up. Remember, we had said this, da 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 da. Airlines have a very strong safety record in recent years, with the last mass fatality crash occurring in 2009. The last mass fatality crash. So that is a pretty good record, considering federal aviation officials have also scrambled to respond to a spat of near collisions at airports around the country, and that began in 2023. So industry leaders say that these are warning signs, and there's a risk of crash as the air traffic bounced back after the pandemic lows. So of course, during the pandemic time, wasn't that many flights. Then all of a sudden, we started having a lot of flights. So I think that this was an avoidable and unfortunate tragedy. Before we can really point the blame per se, things have to be dived into. Now, the Trump administration, not at all shy about diving in and spitting lies. Donald Trump spitting lies per usual, per usual. So the country is reeling from all of this. The country is trying to get themselves together from the deadliest American aviation disaster in more than 2 decades. And Donald Trump today baselessly blames DEI, diversity initiatives, for undermining air safety and questioned the actions of the United States Army helicopter pilot involved in the mid-air collision with the commercial airline. I mean, what else is he going to do? He's going to lie. He's going to do the disgustingly racist things and say craziness. 67 people are believed to have died in this plane crash. Now, this occurred while a flight from Wichita, Kansas was landing at Washington Reagan National Airport. As Trump spoke, the federal investigation was just beginning, and first responders were still working to recover bodies from the river. Officials have not, I repeat, have not established any formal causes of the collision. And Trump himself acknowledged that it was too soon to draw conclusions as he encouraged the country to pray for the victims, yet he still spewed his ignorance, quickly moved to engage in speculation, political attacks at a moment when Americans traditionally look for the president to provide comfort, facts, and assurances. Yes, that is what they look for the president to bring. But it is amazing. It is amazing. The Republican president from the White House briefing room was just over 3 miles from the scene of the disaster, and he's at the podium just acting like the buffoon that he is. Trump blamed Joe Biden's administration for encouraging the Federal Aviation Administration to recruit workers who suffer from severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental, physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative. Really? Is that what we're doing? He added that the program allowed for the hiring of people with hearing and vision issues, as well as paralysis, epilepsy, and dwarfism. This is who some of you wanted to be the president. This guy is a clown. Trump did not share any evidence that unqualified people were being put into critical positions like air traffic control, and he acknowledged that there was yet no indication that air traffic controllers at Reagan National Airport made any mistakes. How this guy can talk about putting people in positions who are unqualified with the group that he has amassed to join the very, very sensitive agencies, it is mind blowing. So when asked why he was blaming diversity initiatives, Trump said, because I have common sense, and unfortunately, a lot of people do not. First of all, you do not have common sense. He said that air traffic controllers need to be brilliant to ensure safety. They have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses, he said. You can't have regular people doing their job. Trump complained specifically about Pete Buttigieg, who was Biden's transportation secretary and was a contender to challenge Trump for the White House back in 2020, calling him a disaster. He's run it right into the ground with his diversity, Trump said, adding profanity to his description of Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg responded on social media calling Trump despicable, or his comments despicable. As families grieve, Trump should be leading and not lying, Pete Buttigieg said. As if to underscore Trump's point, the White House invited reporters into the Oval Office to watch him sign another executive order that officials said would stop woke policies in federal aviation. Trump had already signed an executive order ending diversity initiatives in the federal aviation last week. And, another political stunt that Donald Trump is involved in. The FAA's diversity efforts aren't new. Before Trump's administration removed them from the agency's website this month, they were promoted there since at least 2013, including during Trump's first term in office. But now he has a bad memory. But I mean, he's old. He's old. He's older. He's a senior citizen. So maybe his memory is going to be kind of bad. Now, substantially similar language about seeking candidates with disabilities was on the site during both Biden's term and Trump's first term, according to the Internet Archives. So, former FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker responded to accusations that the agency was prioritizing diversity over qualified candidates last year, saying that while the FAA seeks qualified candidates from a range of sources, each must, let's say this, each must meet rigorous qualifications that, of course, vary by position. So if they cannot do the job, they are not hired. Very simple. And this is the thing that confuses some of the Trump supporters and the racists that tag along with him about diversity. It doesn't mean that the person's not qualified. It means that you are extending the pool of applicants beyond white males for qualified folks. Because a lot of times they'll just say, what Trump and his minions want you to believe is that if it's not a white male, then they're not qualified. And that it just is not the case. Now, the plane crash was the first major disaster of Trump's new term, aside from the fact that he is a disaster. His response evoked his frequent and controversial briefings from the COVID era. This guy is not handling this well. He did not handle the pandemic well. It helped to sour voters as he lost the election in 2020. Him talking and saying and doing the craziness that he does is what led to him losing. And the more that he talks, the worse it's going to be for Republicans. How do we say this? The midterms are coming. The midterms are coming. Over here, TikTok, the midterms are coming. Trump wondered if the helicopter pilot was wearing night vision goggles, declared that you had a pilot program and that the helicopter was going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. He questioned why the Army pilot didn't change course, saying that you can't stop a helicopter very quickly. I mean, it is really a really poor example of leadership, if you want to call it that. But I just can't believe that JV Vance, junior varsity Vance, had the nerve to say this. Junior varsity Vance said, when you don't have the best standards in who you're hiring, it means on the one hand, you're not getting the best people in government. JD Vance is not qualified to be vice president. Donald Trump is not qualified to be president. Donald Trump has nominated a scores of unqualified candidates for various positions. So to hear JV, junior varsity Vance, and dumb Donald say these things, it is not what the American people need. Now, these events are incredibly rare. The safety systems are showing some signs that can't be ignored, and there are obviously things that could be done to improve. But we don't have a lot of plane crashes like this. They do not happen often, and Trump is president, so how he's still going to try to blame Joe Biden, and uh, I guess he's going to blame Obama, Lincoln. He's blaming Abraham Lincoln. He's blaming everybody, but uh, it's his, right. He's the president right now, right? Last time that I checked. Now, yeah, but it is interesting. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Blue Sky, at the Diamond K Show, of course, thediamondkshow.com, on fire broadcasting.com. So what else do we have here? Because we got plenty more. We got a special guest that's going to be joining us shortly. And one thing that I have noticed that has been decent lately, and that is that Democrats have been finding their voice fighting Trump's federal funding freeze. So for months, Republicans have been on their heels, cowering in the corner, aside from a few, AOC, my girl Jasmine Crockett, few others. But Democrats are trying to get themselves together, and they've been pushing back on some of Trump's foolishness. You remember the flurry of actions his first week. It knocked Democrats back on their heels. It was dividing the party, how to respond to the different things, parts of his agenda, some high profile but unqualified nominees for various positions. It had a lot of Democrats on their heels. Now, we talked about this earlier this week. Trump's attempt to impose a sweeping freeze on federal aid across the government awakened Democrats. They got mad and furious and presented some type of opposition. The pressure alongside chaos and confusion that was caused by Trump's Project 2025. It's straight out Project 2025. You remember what he said? He don't know nothing about it, never heard of it, never read it. Okay, yes, he doesn't read, so that's part of it. But the pressure and the chaos and confusion caused the White House to backtrack. I mean, they did a two-step backwards 2 days later and rescinded the budget memo. Trump's move, and this was not his intention, I'm sure, but Trump's move handed Democrats the political gift and gave them a unified message, something that the Democrats had not had in a while. They were able to focus on the very important issues, the most important issue in this country, which are financial, pocketbook issues. The economy is the most important thing. Forget what any Republican tells you. The economy is the most important thing to Americans right now. And so I think that they have a long way to go, Democrats, to try to win back power after the bruising defeat of the 2024 election. And it comes days after internal clashes about whether to resist or go along with parts of the president's agenda. This is a good sign. It has created some jitters within the Republican Party because they are not on solid grounds themselves. So they're on the defense, Democrats on the offense somewhat. But Democrats blame Donald Trump's order for crashing the Medicaid reimbursement portals. You know that. It went down across the country just after the freeze. They warned that the White House directive could halt early childhood development, healthcare, and housing funds. Of course, this affects Americans in red states and blue states. It affects Republicans and Democrats. Republicans, GOP, you're hurting your base. You're hurting your folks. This can't be smart. Wasn't Donald Trump just talking about people not being smart? This isn't smart, Republicans. But hey, y'all gonna do dumb stuff anyway, because at the end of the day, they have tricked and lied to their base. The Republicans have, and they're just trying to make the rich richer. They're just trying to eliminate the middle class and make people either super rich or super poor. That's what their goal is. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's definitely what they are attempting to do. The White House directive is not good. Let's not forget that cancer research, police, and fire programs potentially could get caught in the crosshairs of this Republican Project 2025 mess. Just a mess. Aside from the fact that the things that Trump is trying to do are lawless, it's just a lawless ploy to make way for Trump's agenda of tax cuts for the upper earners, tax cuts for the rich. How many times we got to say it? Tax cuts for the rich. Now, I've said this many times. Chuck Schumer and Pelosi and all of those folks, it's time for them to go. We need the next crop, the new crop of Democrats, the new Democrats to come in. The old guard, y'all did y'all thing. Y'all time is over. It should be over. All of the Democrats that are over 70 need to retire. Facts. Okay. That's just what it is. Y'all need to retire. Y'all did y'all thing. Now I know they're gonna want to try, to stay in office till he's like 90 years old. And it is time for us to move them out the way. Now, I understand that may upset some of the Democrats. But we need y'all doing some other things. All right. Y'all are in the way. Okay. Now there's some of the younger folks, like I said, Jasmine Crockett, Chris Murphy from Connecticut. There's a lot. There's a lot of younger folks. But we need this old guard out the way. Jeffries, come on, let's get your folks right. We need to get our grandparents out there. I love my grandparents. I wish they were still here, right? But a lot of these folks are older than my grandparents were, and my grandparents have all passed on. Now, it is time. There's a lot to go. There's a lot of ways to go left, but we're going to continue to follow this. But Democrats, it's a move in the right direction, but I don't want y'all to get like there's no victory laps and all that. Trump ordered a funding freeze and federal loans and grants and a lot of nonprofits were scared to death. And that's not good. This is definitely something that Democrats need to focus on. But like I said, it is time for the next generation, right? My parents are baby boomers. The baby boomers, this is like people that's like Bill Clinton's age, that kind of stuff. Y'all need to be home, chilling, retired, right? Y'all don't need to be making laws. But people can't be making laws for 30 years. 30 years? We got folks that's in office that was in office. They was old when they got in office, and now they super old. You got folks that's in their 80s and their 90s. Their 80s and their 90s, okay? When my grandparents were in their 80s and their 90s, they weren't even driving. Right? But so we got people in the 80s and their 90s that's leading the country? Are you kidding me? No. This is part of the problem. Older folks don't want any change. That's why we don't see change in government. That's why folks are just disinterested in things, because it's the same old, same old. And the older folks get, the more set in their ways that they are. And we don't need people that are set in their ways making the laws. We need people that are open to new ideas. And older people, I'm sorry, are not open to new ideas. Yes. So, I've been saying this for a while. I want to continue to say it, because at the end of the day, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. You listen to the Diamond K Show on firebroadcasting.com, the diamondkshow.com. So this story out of Georgia, very disturbing, very disturbing. A Georgia health worker was arrested after twerking on the head of folks with disabilities that she was watching, that she at her job, and disgusting. She posted it to social media, and I'm beginning to think something's wrong with her. Like, why would she do this and think that it was acceptable behavior? Because it wasn't. All right, and so she did this stuff. So she's dancing on the heads, right? Like she's on a couch or something, some kind of a chair, and she's dancing on the heads. If you're watching us on youtube.com/DJ Diamond K, let's see if we can get a picture up here. Right? So yeah, so she's not a looker, okay? She's definitely not a looker. She is not attractive, right? But that's aside. So she is a healthcare worker, and she's dancing on multiple patients' heads, right? And so these folks have disabilities, and so she's got her cell phone, and she's like pumping their head, and it's very distasteful. And she's been arrested and charged with exploiting a disabled person. And yes, that is a crime in Georgia, exploiting a disabled person. And so I don't know. I don't know why folks want to do things like this. I don't know why she thought that this was cool. I don't know why she thought this was funny. Um, and so she and the video went viral. So she has a felony charge after posting this viral video online, dancing provocatively over disabled patients at their home. So this is in their home. She's being paid to watch these folks and care for these folks. And her name, Lucretia Kamasa Koyan, 19 years old, charged with one count of exploitation of a disabled person in connection to the reported incident in Loganville, which was filmed and posted on social media, according to the police department. And you can see in her mugshot, she is looking crazy. I don't know whether she was doing her weave or fixing it or taking it out. I don't know what she was doing, but like they caught her at a moment where she should not have been outside. She is looking crazy. Aside from the fact that she was doing stuff that was crazy, she is looking crazy. she is she is looking crazy. So I don't know how much time she's going to get. We're going to continue to follow this case. But if you saw that, it was just disgusting. Just disgusting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Blue Sky at The Diamond K Show. Of course, thediamondkshow.com, onfirebroadcasting.com. So we've been talking about the nominations that have been going on and all of that kind of stuff. Not a lot of good candidates out there from the Trump administration. But it seems like because they have the votes, a lot of these people are going to make it through. And America as a whole is going to have to deal with the repercussions of this nonsense. And speaking of nonsense, we can bring that up on the screen. The Trump administration, I told you, within the first day, had a lot of executive orders that were issued, signed, whatever. And this thing here, in response to Donald Trump's executive orders that ban diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, the Pentagon's intelligence agency has paused some special events, programs that are related to and including for Juneteenth, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Black History Month, Holocaust Days of Remembrance, and Pride Month, all being paused. Now, despite being on the list of the Defense Intelligence Agency's paused events and activities, the memo clarified that Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth will still remain holidays, but they are pausing the activities. So don't let them tell you that this stuff is not related to race. Of course, we do not need the government to celebrate or teach anything. But I definitely wanted to bring up the fact that this had happened. It's going to be a lot of things, lot of things. I just want y'all folks to have a good memory. All right. I want y'all to remember the things that we've been trying to tell you. And a lot of times people don't pay attention to things until it affects them directly. Oh, this is my strawberry banana smoothie. This is 10 strawberries, 2 bananas. Yeah. And a fourth cup of milk. So I don't want y'all folks to have bad memories. And I want to talk about we mentioned this earlier, but it is so interesting. It is so interesting. Let's bring this up on the screen. All right. So we talked about Trump and the things that he's been doing since regaining the presidency. All right. So let's look at this. How it started, according to the AP, January 21st, 2025, Trump fires the head of the TSA, the Coast Guard, and guts key aviation safety advisory committee. This was on election day. How it's going, according to the Washington Post, American Airlines plane crashes with helicopter near Ronald Reagan Airport. Very close that these things happen. First day in office, and has it been 2 weeks? It's been a week. Trump fired the head of the TSA, the Coast Guard, and eliminated some key aviation safety advisory committee. And then a few days later, we have a tragedy. Helicopter plane crash right near Ronald Reagan Airport. I'm telling you, he does not have the best interests of America. He doesn't have that in mind at all. Does not have that in mind at all. Another interesting thing, I'm going to shift gears for a minute. And as we've continued to see the evolution of Meta, the evolution of this agency, Meta will pay $25 million to settle a lawsuit with Donald Trump after the company suspended his social media accounts following the January 6th riots, the insurrections. So if you remember back then, Meta was, kind of with everybody else, angry with the attempt to overthrow the election and the images that we saw, the police officers being attacked, what we saw the Trump supporters do at the Capitol that day. And social media was used to rally folks, get them to the area. And a lot of the social media companies suspended Donald Trump's accounts. And aside from the fact that a lot of folks' accounts are suspended or they're censored, posts are taken down, all kind of stuff. The fact that Meta is going to pay Donald Trump $25 million. But what exactly is the lawsuit about? It's not, he did lead people to the Capitol. That happened. Folks were injured. Some folks died. property damage, policemen assaulted, all kind of stuff. So why are they settling a lawsuit when he did these things? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So maybe one of you Trump supporters can explain it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe y'all can explain. Terry T, what's going on, bro? I need to have you on the show, man. What do you do? I can send you the link now, or you can come on another day. But I think that it is definitely time. I think this is a great segue for me to talk about some upcoming events that are happening. I'm glad that Terry T chimed in, but definitely, if you want to hop on, Terry, let me know, and I will send you the link, or we can schedule something another time. But anyway, we can already talk about a couple of events that are coming up. So I'm excited because this is the season we're going into the season where oh, hey, sweet tea, what's going on? Okay, what you saying? Um, Gucci Man is coming to Baltimore Friday, February 28th, 2025. It's going to be a live concert at Iconic Live, 316 Guilford Avenue in downtown Baltimore. Music by Super DJ Big L, Mr. Incredible, and DJ Loco. It's all hosted by K&D Promotions, Lil Black, and TV Biddy. Gucci Mane live in concert, February 28th. Tickets on sale right now at Starfaces, Cashland, Glambox, or you can visit iconiclive.com for tickets and tables. Gucci Man, it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Y'all already know. Baltimore loves Gucci Man. All right, so when he comes to town, it is always, it is hood, it is live, it is a lot of fun, and that is happening February 28th. So you already know to get ready for that, February 28th. And a lot of other things that are coming up. I was talking about Terry T, and Terry T has something major in the works, and this is coming from Terry T Productions. Upscale, Saturday, March the 8th, 2025, at Live Casino, 7002 Arundel Mills Circle in Hanover. Music by DJ Quicksilver, DJ Techniques, DJ Booby, and DJ Titan. It's all hosted by April Watts, Stephen Bell, and Big Status. Now, they got some live performances. R&B group Next is going to be in the building and on the stage, and the American Idol gold ticket winner Nia Renee is going to be live on stage. You can get those tickets right now at M&K Music in Security Mall and Silver Star Restaurant, 801 Bonaparte Avenue, or call Terry T Productions, 443-953-1966 for tickets or tables. So that is going to be, that's a big event right there. That's a big event right there, and that is coming this March the 8th. So sweet tea, what are you saying? Are we you trying to get on air tonight? You say when you tell me when, and we will make it happen. I know I see you say that you home. Sweet tea is in Texas. And so a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on. Also, coming up, a lot of stuff for the love of the hoodie at Safari Nightclub, 5625 O'Donnell Street, Saturday, February 8th, 8 p.m. 2 a.m. Tickets on sale now. You can contact Sean Marshall, or for sections, contact Miss Vicky V. And also going on February 8th, we got different kind of vibes for different folks, right? And this is like an R&B vibe here. This is an R&B tribute show, and this is February 8th, 2025, and this goes down at Capitol Lounge, 1531 Pennsylvania Avenue in Baltimore. Doors open 7 p.m. Show starts at 8 p.m. For tickets, you can visit capitolloungebaltimore.com/shows. All right. And so I don't know. We had a special guest that was supposed to be joining us. I am not sure what is happening with that. But I still have a few other things to get into. And so some Trump voters are skeptical of his opening moves. Can you believe that? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Some Trump voters are confused, are not understanding where he's going with things. Some of them are even regretting their votes, maybe a little bit. Just a little bit. Trump insists his overall agenda will help working and middle class Americans. However, his executive orders do not do that. They don't do that at all. So he gives a little red meat for the base. That is sending some folks, deporting some folks. Now, in the long run, I don't know. Some middle class Trump voters say that much of what he has done is reflecting his campaign, especially his immigration crackdown, targeting some LGBTQ friendly policies. He's been doing that. They're happy about that. But then on the other hand, he's doing some other things. U.S. adults broadly think it's a bad idea if the president relies on billionaires for advice about government policy. And this is reflected in a January AP poll. So it's an AP NORC poll. About 6 in 10 U.S. adults say that this would be very or somewhat a bad thing, while only 1 in 10 call it a very or somewhat good thing. 3 in 10 are neutral. The poll found warning signs specifically for Elon Musk, whom Donald Trump has made chairman of, some made up, what does he call it? The Department of Government Efficiency or DOGE. According to the poll, about 1/3 of Americans have a favorable view of Musk. This is down slightly from December. Support for the special commission is pretty low. About 3 in 10 U.S. adults strongly or somewhat approve of Trump's creation of Doge. 4 in 10 disapprove, while the rest were neutral or didn't or say they didn't know enough to say. Vivek Ramaswamy announced that he would no longer be involved in the group. So that is interesting. That is interesting. I saw this story about a Latino Trump voter supporter whose wife was deported. All right. So he was what do you call it? Latino for Trump. He had a meltdown. He had a meltdown basically, and he regrets now, of course, because his wife was deported or is in the process of being deported. I thought that it was hilarious. Some people said that it's sad. I don't think that it's sad at all, because it's like if you're a child student and you're a senior, you're supposed to graduate and you don't do your work. And then when graduation time comes, you see your friends on the stage graduating. And now you're crying, right? You're crying and you're sad because you can't walk across the stage for whatever reason. Some people feel bad for the student, right? I say you should have did your work. What are you crying for? What did you think was going to happen? There's nothing to cry for. Now you could do your work and maybe you'll graduate in the summertime or next year. But what do you stop your blood clot crying? And that's how I feel about these Latino folks who his wife is getting deported. You were all for voting for Trump, and he was like, "Yeah, get those illegals out of here." But dummy, your wife's an illegal. So he thought because he voted for Trump that that they wasn't going to send him away. Wow, wow. There are is a sucker born every minute, I guess. Sucker born every minute. And Trump, and so he was like, I wish I could talk to Trump. And well, my wife's a good person. Yeah, whatever, right? Whatever. There's this image circulating uh, of a man in a hard hat and a Latinos for Trump 2024 shirt being detained amid this crackdown on immigration. Um, but folks are saying that photo is from 2018. The man handcuffed was wearing a plain top with no such slogan. I don't know. Um, I don't know. We'll see. But there are a lot of folks and a lot of videos of folks that are being deported. I think that it is fascinating. It is fascinating as I see many folks who supported Trump that are now having second thoughts. Now having second thoughts. So if you voted for Trump and you feel differently now, I like to hear. I like to hear from you. This Latino woman who voted for Trump, she is breaking down over immigration, the deportation. She said, "We trusted him with the word that he promised us Latinos, and now I'm scared. God, please protect us." Yeah. What? What are you talking about? God is not going to protect you from Trump. You had the chance, right? Y'all had the chance. You didn't take it. Okay, so sorry. Too bad, so sad. A lot of Trump supporters I see are still trying to defend him, and they're still making up excuses and all of that. So that is interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the first of all, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. I don't know any of that. I don't know any of that. Trump supporters, I mean, the time for you to do something was in November of 2024. Now you just got to ride the wave. Now you just got to ride the storm out. This is what you said you wanted. This is what you said you wanted, and you gotta ride the wave. I don't know what else to tell you, other than I don't know. This is interesting. Looking at this, it says that to recap, Trump forced out the FAA chief at Musk's insistence, imposed a hiring freeze that reportedly included air traffic controllers, fired the TSA head, and gutted a key aviation safety committee, blamed the DC air crash on DEI. This is disastrous leadership. Yep, that sums it up pretty good. That sums it up pretty good. Yeah, so that is something else. Fact that the president of the United States has a worse criminal record than 99% of the people that he is deporting. 99%. Wow, isn't that something? In other news, Glorilla is going on tour. Glorilla has been on a roll lately. I'll tell you that. She has been on a roll. Like she's been doing her thing. I can't even front. She's been doing her thing. So tickets on sale now. Glorilla on tour with Boston Richie and Queen Key. So pre-sale, yeah, pre-sale tickets. Pre-sale tickets on now. So she's coming. She's coming to DC. But if she's coming to your town, I suggest you go check her out. Go holler at her because she's hot right now. She's doing a thing. So shout out to her and all the folks that is rocking with her. A lot of folks rocking with her. She's been on the up and up. Um, Also, in Baltimore tomorrow, DJ Duke and he's got something going on with the Lost Boys. Remember that crew? Lost Boys are celebrating a 30th anniversary at Sizzle here in Baltimore. It's on Pulaski Highway in White Marsh. So that is going down. DJ Duke's doing the music tomorrow, January 31st. Check that out at Sizzle. So definitely Lost Boys. Lost Boys did their thing. Lost Boys did their thing. We used to spend a lot of the records. A lot of those Lost Boy records um, were really, a couple of them joints moved the crowd. I can't front on that. They moved the crowd. Now, a couple of things, two more things before I get out of here, and that is, they're not really good things, but we got to talk about stuff that is current. So, federal agents have arrested a former athletic director in Pikesville. That's in Baltimore County. That was earlier this week. Dazon Darian appeared in Baltimore County Circuit Court for a state case against him until the federal agents took him into custody and to the federal court in downtown Baltimore. So this was, crimes related to children, the receipt of bad images. Let me say that, bad images. Prosecutors dismissed one of the charges, while the remaining two focused on a search of his home and electronic devices. They found some things that were not cool. According to the reports. There were some written exchanges between minors and the former teacher, who was calling himself Zay. Right? This is crazy. A federal complaint also alleges that Darian paid the minors for the pictures. He was a former athletic director at Pikesville High School. He was out on bond. His public defender said that he traveled from Texas to be in Maryland, ready for the trial in a Towson courtroom. So I don't know. He seems like he's going down, right? Seems like he's going down, and it also seems like he's. I feel like he's taking the stance like he's innocent, right? Like he's innocent of something, but it just doesn't seem like he's innocent at all. Does not. But we're going to continue to follow that story. I hate stories like that, but it happens all the time. You have people in positions of power that take advantage of things. And so, tell me your thoughts on this. So, is this an honest mistake or a parent's worst nightmare? A girl was mistaken for someone else and removed from school last Friday, a week from tomorrow. Now her mother is demanding answers. The woman, who asked to be named Miss Campbell, said that her 11-year-old daughter attends the Maryland International School in Howard County, Maryland, and her child was mistakenly removed from the class by police in a mix-up that she feels should have never happened. It started when Miss Campbell got a phone call from her mother, the girl's grandmother, the child's grandmother. The police called the grandmother to let her know that they had one of her grandchildren. And she was like, "What do you mean?" And the guy was like, "I picked her up from school and the school released her to me, made a mistake, and we had the wrong child." Ms. Campbell said that the conversation between the police and the grandmother, Ms. Campbell said she immediately got a call. She called the school to figure out what was going on. I asked them, "Hey, I just got a call from my mom stating that my daughter is with the police. What happened? How did this happen?" All they could really do was say, "We're sorry, we made a mistake. We know," and that was it, Ms. Campbell said. Baltimore County Police were sent to the school to pick up a child at the request of the parent that was in the hospital. But Ms. Campbell said that her daughter had apparently been mistaken for another student who has a similar name. The daughter was released to the police by the school and taken to the hospital. And that's when they realized, well, she like, I'm sick, but I ain't that sick. This ain't my daughter. Who child is this? Right. And so nobody was harmed in that. And so of course in that situation, I mean, stuff happens. But I mean, I'm sure that they're saying your mother's in the hospital, right? And then she's like, oh my God, my mother's in the hospital. And she gets to the hospital, it's like, dang my mama, dang my daughter. Right. Yeah, that could be crazy, but worse things have happened. But thankfully nobody was hurt in that situation. And last thing before we get out of here, if you remember, now it depends on what your age is. You may or may not remember this, but in the early 2000s, there was a group called Mindless Behavior. Mindless Behavior. And one fan discovered that a member of that group, his name is Prodigy, and he's from this group called Mindless Behavior, actually works at Amazon with her friend. And I thought it was cool. Like, okay, so it's good. He got, that run that he had was, over 20 years ago, and doing other things, needed steady income, needed the health care and all that. And so he is, working a job at Amazon. And I'm glad that, a lot of folks have not been, dogging them out. You know what I mean? I think that's cool, and I think that we should celebrate folks working. We should celebrate when folks are doing the right thing and trying to make things happen. And so, shout out to him. And there's a lot of entertainers from yesteryear that work a regular job, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that is cool. Times are different, and it is not how it was back in the. We talking about 25 years ago, right? But I mean, they had a little run, and so shout out to them. And he's probably still doing shows and all that too. And so that's what's up. Of course, I will be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Need to get in touch with me. Very easy to do that. I'm not hard to find. djdiamondk@gmail.com. And of course, you can advertise your product, service, or event with us. Just reach out to me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. Of course, onfirebroadcasting.com, thediamondkshow.com, and also all social media. I am at the Diamond K Show. All right, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe at youtube.com/DJ Diamond K.